Ugh. Hello, duelists, and welcome to the final Yu-Gi-Oh series. I know it's the last of the Yu-Gi-Ohs we'll be looking at, so I should be excited, maybe a little sad, slightly aroused, but I can't. I'm pissed off because Konami fucks me once again. See, I started this retrospective around the time Go Rush, the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh series, was ending. I thought, awesome, perfect timing, cause I knew by the time I looked at it, all the episodes would be online, easily accessible, and fully dubbed. Because, I assume the dubs are pretty much done literally the same day as the original episode air date these days, and most long-running anime are pretty much caught up. They might be a few weeks behind, and I thought Yu-Gi-Oh was the same. Nope, because around the time I started this series, the dub of Go Rush just began. At the time of me writing this, they are in about episode 30-ish, about to hit 40, I think. There are 151 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. So if I waited for the dub to finish, I would have to do this video series in 2 years, maybe 3 if there aren't any production issues. And because I don't want to do that, for Go Rush, I'll be watching it in the original Japanese the whole way through. Fuck my life. Now, I'm not mad because I have to do that. I don't care what language my media is in. I'm mad because now this opens the floodgates for all of you assholes that have been constantly complaining that I've been watching the dubs. Now you get to jerk off to the fact that I have to read while watching a TV show. And I hate it, because for the last time, I'm watching the dub for my own personal reasons I've explained thousands of times. You're clearly not watching the show. You're too busy being mad that I'm listening in English. And while, yeah, in the 4Kids days, most dubs were drastically different, modern anime dubs are barely any different. Yeah, they change some names and stuff here and there, that still happens, but they do their best to stick to the original source, mostly because of people like you, and despite what you people think, it does not ruin a show that I can actually understand what they're saying and not have to look at the screen while doing so. I want to be very clear too, this is not a bit, this is not me joking, I'm not acting right now. I really hate all of you. I just hate people that treat anime dubs as cancer despite the fact that you don't even watch them. The only reason you think dubs suck is because you watch some top 10 ways 4Kids ruin One Piece videos, and you think everything is like that. So fuck all of you. I hate the fact that your single-mindedness and toxicity is being rewarded or justified in any single way, and I can't do anything to stop it, but I guess that's the world we live in now. Okay, now that that's out of the way, for all of us normal people who don't care about that stuff, yes, we are here, Duelists, the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series that has been released and fully concluded. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. The last one I'm ever looking at. I don't care about Card Game Chronicles or whatever, and if another series is announced while I'm doing this, make your own video. I'm all Yu-Gi-Oh'd out by this point. I think got time for that. Another Digimon series and a game came out recently. My life is fucked. And it's sad to report that I'm not just upset about the sub thing. I also don't really like Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush that much. Yeah, despite watching it subbed, it didn't enhance the, story or character writing at all. Color me shocked. And there are actually 3 reasons why I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. No, that's not a Vrain's callback, it just turned out that way. And conveniently, each season highlights one of these problems. Season 1 kind of shows that this show has really no direction. They clearly had no idea what the fuck they were doing when they started this. But even more unfortunately, it's not funny. Season 2, and kind of into Season 3, shows it did not need to be so long. 151 episodes is way too much for this show. It did not need it. And Season 3 shows that even when they do try to be a bit more serious or have some more nuance and complex writing, it fails miserably and ruins more characters than a typical Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Then, of course, your standard Yu-Gi-Oh! Issues. A lot of uninteresting duels with no tension or reason to care. Way too many characters. This might be the most jobber-filled Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. And, of course, there's going to be a lot of womaning going around. Now, I couldn't really find any conclusive info about the production of this series, probably because it's the newest one, but it's pretty much a sequel to Sevens in that it's a more lighthearted series about rush duels, and it introduces more mechanics too. It's also a sequel to Sevens, kinda, sorta, in a way. Not really, but also yes. So yeah, this video isn't starting off positively, and sadly, as Go Rush goes on, it's gonna get even more pessimistic. So let's dig into the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, and see how the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't really look so bright. The anime, anyway. Oh, right. I've really run out of ideas of what to put on this screen now. Like, I got nothing. So since I have a brand, I guess, for the next couple videos, this is going to be Yu-Gi-Oh cards I'd have sex with. It's the burger again. I want to give this little slut some of my secret sauce. Our story begins in the mountains, in a town called Mutsuba. If you're wondering why you recognize that name, remember that's the family name of Asana from Sevens. Yeah, when I said sequel to Sevens, I wasn't kidding, as I'm going to be saying a lot of names from Sevens that you'll be familiar with, and you'll see some characters who look quite familiar as well. And I think the show does a really good job at not acknowledging it, because you don't have to have seen Sevens to get this show. But for a majority of this first season, you're going to hear a lot of familiar names, and the reason won't be explained for quite some time. Case in point, this show kinda has multiple protagonists, kinda sorta, one's really more important than the other two. And we're introduced to those other two. They're twin siblings, the boy, Yuhi, and girl, Yuamu.
宇宙人めまた逃げられたか。
猫さらい星人の姿は確認できず、第一目標の猫も逃走。そして報酬も逃走。
Their last name is Odo. The two were out looking for a missing cat, but stumble upon a spaceship camouflaged in the woods. As you do, when they enter it, it immediately takes off into orbit, and they meet the captain of this ship and the third and arguably real main character of the show, Yugioh Velgear.
地球人よ。
なんだ。
それがしろ。銀河の彼方、ベルギャー星団から来た。ユーディアス・ベルギャー。
Yugioh is a Velgirian, an alien from the Velgear star cluster, who has come to Earth with his 88.8 million men to find out about rush duels, of course. Because on one of his home planets called Go Rush U, he found a legend that said rush duels will be the key to bringing peace to his people. Because right now, his whole star cluster is in some kind of star war? No, that's stupid. And it seems to have no end, and thinks a children's card game will help end the fighting. So immediately, as you can tell, if you were not down for Sevens and how absurd it got, that was baby mode. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush says logic is for pussies and takes suspension of disbelief, fucks it in the ass, turns its asshole inside out, puts it back in, doesn't even bother giving it a reach around, leaving it to soak in its own puddle of shame for the acts that it just committed. In other words, turn your brain off. Yuamu and Yuhi are shocked for several reasons, especially that rush duels, which Yuamu describes accurately as a card game for children, will end in interstellar war, and how aliens even know about it, because according to them, it's a brand new thing, even on Earth. But we get a glimpse of their personalities and dynamic and see Yuhi is a bit slower and acts more on instinct and feeling, while Yuamu is more smart, tactical, and sees this as an opportunity. Saying they'll teach him about rush duels, more specifically Yuhi will duel him. If Yugioh wins, they'll teach him all about Russian. But if Yuhi wins, Yugioh must work for their company, called UTS, the Ultra Terrestrial Trouble Solutions Consultancy LLC, which Yuamu is the president of. Because remember, in Sevens Land, all presidents of companies haven't even hit puberty yet. Yet they're more mature than most real CEOs. UTS's function changes all the time throughout this show. They're basically a group of odd job helpers that try to help people in trouble, but mostly focus on aliens. Anyway, this first rush duel is a tutorial, like the most tutorial duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Which, hey, for kids that see this for the first time, I think it's great. But for me, as an adult who understands rush duels, it's kind of boring. Yugioh needs it though, because he's never rushed before. But Yuamu and Yuhi point out that if he just found out about rush duels, how does he have a familiar to us looking duel disc and his own cards, a special type that they've never seen before, called Galaxy Monsters? And despite just learning about them right now, Yugioh manages to beat Yuhi, which he hates because he lost to a noob. And now the twins hold up their end, saying they will teach Yugioh about rush duels. And we see Yuamu got her way anyway, cause to do this, he has to stick around the twins, so he still becomes an employee of UTS. And now these twins are working with an alien. It's like a sitcom. And that was a pretty big moment actually, because that was our first episode of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. It was okay. It introduces our main three and their dynamics fine. Yugioh is a too honest alien, Yuhi is kinda out of his depth when it comes to this alien stuff, and he's not the brightest, except when it comes to dueling. And Yuamu is the smart schemer who seems to have everything figured out already. Unfortunately, already a problem pops up. Although I didn't realize it at the time, after watching the show, it hit me like a direct attack. This show kept the fast pace of Sevens to its detriment. Sevens needed to be a fast-paced comedy, mainly because of its lesser episodes. It needed to get more info and story, or whatever that entailed, out faster. Go Rush has 70% more episodes to get their point across, but keeps that pacing. That includes the arcs. Yes, despite having 151 episodes, like Sevens, most arcs are anywhere between 13, maybe 20 episodes if they really want a long one. Which is bad, because instead of staying with the characters and plot points introduced in those arcs and exploring them, we get them out of the way and forget about those characters so fast you wonder why we even went there at all. Because yeah, like Sevens, it does the whole a thing seeming insignificant comes up later and is super important. With so many episodes and so much more stuff introduced, you start to forget some of those things that they brought up. Or even worse, stop caring, because what's the point if after 10 episodes it won't matter for another 40? I thought it made the show feel lost and sloppily written personally, but maybe as I go through it again, I'll change my mind. I'm not. For now though, let's get back to the show, and talk about the first opening. Yep, no dubs, only subs here. And yeah, I'll admit, I am glad I get real music now instead of the flaccid penis that was the Vrains and Sevens intros. Duel Rush has 3 openings, and I think the first one, Mirage by Frederick, is the weakest of the 3. I mean, it's fine. Once again, can't play Japanese music on YouTube. Just know it's an anime opening song. It does its job. The ending theme, though, fucking slaps. One Way by Saiki Yusuke or Saiki Yusuke, I don't care who made it because it's a bop. It's so fucking catchy, I listen to this thing regularly now. It's so good. Listen to it right now. I'll watch the video first and go listen to it. It's really good. And after that opening, we get back to the anime, where we learn some things about UTS, that the twins inherited it from their parents, and work with a bunch of other characters that might look familiar to you. Yamu's president because she's smarter and maybe the firstborn twin, I don't care, don't tell me. And for right now, it seems their main client is Yuhi, because he's looking for something he refers to as his Earthdamer. What is that? Nobody knows. Yuhi just says he lost it and needs to find it. But they get another client whose job seems suspicious, and Yuamu again showing how smart she is, susses him out, and the client reveals his true form.
Mystery, すごい、ケミストニャー。
地球へやってきた異星人を取り締まるのが私たちの仕事よ。
猫が喋った。
This is Manabu Sogetsu and his partner, a talking cat named Nyandestar. They work for the MIK, the Organization for Monitoring Interstellar Criminals. Yes, they're just the Men in Black, and they spell like they're in Mortal Kombat. They of course have come to take Udius into custody and determine if he's a threat, and have confiscated Yuhi's cards as evidence. Seeing he's caused trouble, Udius duels Manabu. If he loses, they'll take him downtown. Also, Udius does this thing where he shows his true alien form, saying Velgear Riva. Even though he looks like any other asshole, I don't know how you can tell he's an alien from this.
Velgear Riva! Udius Velgear!
This duel is just to explain monster effects and tribute summoning, which is important, cause Udius doesn't want to sacrifice his monsters to tribute summon, cause at one point during the war, his commanding officer sacrificed himself to save him, and he's a too honest for his good guy, and sees his cards as his comrades and doesn't want to sacrifice them. But Manabu is the one who convinces him to actually tribute summon, which gets Udius to summon Galactica Oblivion, his ace monster, and uses it in some epic cringy Chinibyo English to beat Manabu. Yeah, all of Udius' boss monster attacks start with War to Zen, then some random bullshit. Yeah, it's kinda awesome. So Manabu and Nyandestar retreat. Let's say they'll be keeping an eye on UTS, as Udius now realizes how dueling can help people understand each other, after Manabu helped him despite being on opposite sides. The next episode, people in Mutsuba Town are getting attacked by some monster, so UTS is on the case. Eventually, Yuamu traps the culprit, a Chupacabra named Chupataro, another alien who's been attacking people due to his obsession with Meg-chan, a Rush Duel card / magical girl / furry who is probably just as popular in the real world. Yuamu duels him, we see she's got the dragon deck, I guess she's the Kaiba of this show, and this duel is the spell and trap tutorial. She wins, and Manabu and Nyandestar show up to take him into custody. While Yuhi and Udius celebrate another job well done, Yuamu starts thinking that before they couldn't find a single alien, but now Udius, the MIK, and Chupataro are showing up all of a sudden, and she thinks that can't be a coincidence. At the MIK, Chupataro is let go, because turns out while he's not human, he's also not an alien, because he was born here on Earth. He has citizenship and everything. And when he gets out, he calls someone on a payphone, and says their name is Yugioh, and that he successfully made contact with Udius. The next episode is one of those episodes where nothing happens until the end. Two things are going on. Yuhi accidentally breaks the ship the other Velgearians are in, named the Valvagear, and tries to fix it before Udius finds out. Meanwhile, Chupataro tricks Udius, taking him to the Mutsuba trash factory, saying he's going to teach him about trap cards, and fails all the time because Udius, while being a trusting goody two-shoes, is also insanely strong. Eventually the two plots meet up and Chupataro reveals he tried to trap Udius because he wanted information on what the Earthdamer is. And speaking of that, Yuhi sees the alien who took his Earthdamer, but he gets away when Yuhi decides to save the Valvagear instead of going after him. And Udius easily fixes it like a toy, and everyone's fine. The end. The next episode, Yuhi's at the dry cleaners picking up clothes, but it's all wet, so he goes to complain, and runs into that alien that stole his Earthdamer again. He's a Kappa named Kawai Tell, who says he took Yuhi's Earthdamer for science, because he's got a thing about how he never wants to be dry, hence all the moist, and he has a thirst for knowledge. Get it? Yuhi duels him to get his Earthdamer back, but his dual disc is ruined because of all the moist. But we see the Valve Gear has a special function. It can turn into a dual disc. And 8.88 million countrymen help Yuhi out after he tried so hard to repair their ship in the last episode. Yuamu and Udius also show up, and this duel is the Set Monsters tutorial. And during the duel we find out Kappa took Yuhi's Earthdamer, not for malicious reasons, but for the thirst for knowledge thing I mentioned earlier. But Yuhi, who uses machines called Jointex, manages to win the duel and get his Earthdamer back. And we see it's that. Ugh. Well, take it in, Yuhi, you earned it. That's when Manabu and Yondistar show up, saying they monitored Chupataro and he was in contact with a Velgirian and have come to talk to Udius about it. And he reveals to everyone Zuijou Zui Velgir was his commander, the one that seemingly died in the war that he mentioned a while ago. But now he's suddenly alive, and also for some reason wanted and obtained Yuhi's Earthdamer, which still no one really knows what it is, cause Kappa left after the duel so they couldn't ask him. Well, despite those revelations, UTS still needs to pay the bills, so they all split up and do some odd jobs revolving around urban legends. Udius investigates a warehouse monster who turns out to be a real one, another alien, a Flatwoods monster named Hiromori Mitsuko, and he ends up dueling her. Okay, one thing I find annoying in the show that they do is that for some reason, whenever a character loses life points, they say the amount they lose, despite us seeing it on screen. I don't get why they do that, and at first I didn't mind it, but after 150 episodes of it happening multiple times in those episodes, it started to really get at me for no reason. I don't know why, but the therapy hasn't helped. Udius wins, but turns out Mitsuko is working for Zuijou. He shows up and tells Udius that he has his own plan to end the war with children's card games. They're not using them to hold tournaments at an LGS or anything, but as a weapon to crush their enemies, and asks Udius to join him. Despite Zuijou being his old CO, Udius refuses, saying that way is wrong, and they can find a way to understand each other through rush duels. Zuijou escapes to continue his plan. The next episode is for comedy, as Yuhi trains Udius by having him answer questions from a duel tutorial CD. This introduces attributes and types as well as a rap. Yeah, you heard me right, there's a rap. Does that make this the best or the most perfect Yu-Gi-Oh series? Most importantly is the CD they're listening to, actually, as it's narrated by Manya Itachi, a childhood friend of Yamu's, who left Mutsuba Town to become a star, and is coming back to shoot a Rush Duel special with UTS. But coming back, it seems all the glitz and glamour has made Manya into a stuck-up bitch, not even remembering Yuamu and verbally abusing her assistant, Kirishima. And Kirishima is the first problem of me switching to subs over dubs. You remember I mentioned that these dubs like to change names every so often? I really don't get why they choose the ones they do. The reason I'm bringing that up is because Kirishima in the dub is named Cassidy, as in Roa and Roman Cassidy. I'm going to continue to call him Kirishima, but just remember he's related to Roa and Roman in some way. And hey, I might not get the name change thing, but sometimes they're better, because Manya's name in English is Imi Amimi, because she looks like Mimi, which is why she's called that. And that's way funnier. Nabu's dub name, though, I don't know what they were fucking smoking with that. Anyway, to get her friend back, Yuamu duels Manya and wins. It turns out she was just acting like a bitch for fun. Or something. She's fine. Everything's fine. The MIK are also here because they detected some aliens. And Manabu is surprised when he's called to duel next. And his opponent isn't human, it's a dog? Manabu. Oh, never mind, he's a JoJo's character. No, I take that back. He may be a stand, because he's actually Manya's dog, named Bochi. And Manabu actually knows Bochi. As a kid, when he was studying the Sogetsu style, he found Bochi, and they became friends. And then one day, he went missing, which led to Manabu joining the MIK to find him one day. Turns out Bochi's a dick, and his race of dogs with bara titties are obsessed with strength, and trick people with their cuteness, and murder them when they let their guard down. He only pretended to be Manabu's friend to learn about the Sogetsu style. But Manabu beats him, and turns out, after meeting Manya, Bochi turned a new leaf and only wanted to see Manabu again to test his strength and apologize, and everyone's friends again. I feel like I'm going to say that to end most episodes. Everyone's friends again, it's okay, gotta reset the status quo. It's not like we should change it in 150 fucking episodes. But suddenly the broadcast is interrupted by Chupataro, Nani the fuck, and he's acting weirder than usual. And Yugioh duels him to calm him down, but they all soon see he's woman. But there's no old dude putting his parasites in little girls here. He's like this because of Yuhi's Earthdamer. It's taken him over. And then it gets weirder, cause he plays his beloved Meg-chan card, and the Earthdamer makes her come to life. The hologram becomes physical, and takes over the duel. What's more, when she attacks Yugioh, he actually gets hurt for realsies. In this duel, when you get Maxx C, you get Maxx C for real. This makes the others realize this was Zexel's plan, and why he took the Earthdamer. Somehow, it makes children's card games real. But Yugioh, determined to save his good friend Chupataro and stop Zexel, wins the duel, but is severely hurt afterward. But after that, Yugioh is determined to retrain himself to beat Zexel, meaning this episode is just a bunch of tutorial reminders. Cause he'll need it as Yugioh realizes where Zexel is waiting for him, at the top of the under-construction Mutsuba Tower. And the two begin a duel to determine how to save their star cluster from war. But Yugioh again feels the pain as we see Zexel soaked his duel disc in Earthdamer juices, like Chupataro was, but this was in the bath much longer, making it all pruny and more potent. And Zexel is not as weak-willed, so he's not being overtaken by it, he's abusing it. And does officially announce his plan of using the Earthdamer to make monsters real and use it for war. He even goes so far that when his ace monster is summoned, that he has the most edgelord chant for. He takes a page from Merrick and using the Earthdamer, fuses with his monster. It just kind of duels as it, even attacking Yugioh. And we also see that he chose the highest point in the city for a reason, that Mitsuko is using it to spread the Earthdamer-ness and make all the monsters in all of town real with Earthdamer jizz. To make things worse, since it's Yuhi's Earthdamer, somehow he's being affected, going into a coma like a Vrain's character, and his consciousness is somehow transferred to his Earthdamer in the monster. So now even if Yugioh wins, he's worried he might hurt Yuhi in the process. But thanks to twin telepathy, I guess, Yuamu gets a message from Yuhi to Yugioh, telling him to stop being a pussy, beat Zexel, and save everyone. At the same time, Kawaii Tell, the Kappa, gets some help from his real boss, the person he's been working with behind the scenes, the owner of everything, the president of Mutsuba Heavy Machinery, who of course is in elementary school, Asaka Mutsuba.
社の電波塔を占拠するとは不届きな宇宙人よ。痛い目に遭いたくなければ即刻その部屋を明け渡すがよい。私はムツバ重機社長ムツバ朝香である。のムツバ町は我がムツバ重機によって栄えたと言っても過言ではない。従ってこの町で私が一番偉い。
I like her. She stops the broadcast and now determined to save Yuhi, Yugioh manages to beat Zexel, stopping his plan. But Mitsuko escapes with Zexel. And even though he won today, Yugioh knows Zexel's not the kind of person to just wallow away after one defeat. Because not only is he out there, he's still out there with Yuhi's Earthdamer. And that was the first arc of the show, the first 13 episodes. Like I said, too fast for a show with 150 of them. It really seemed like Zexel would be a bigger deal, didn't it? Nope, he got beaten really fast, and his plan, well, for now, is done. And we get no breaks, because immediately, the next episode begins the next arc. But first we see, for beating Zexel, Yuamu promotes Yugioh to Chief of Alien Investigations Division. Who knows what that means, but Yuhi is upset, because now this means Yugioh technically outranks him. And immediately following that, they get a job from someone unexpected, Kirishima, who reveals his full name as Kirishima London. Okay, retiring UTS to find someone, a young girl who's been missing for several weeks. The reason he came to UTS and not the police is because she was last seen in the Underground, also known as the Alien Residential Area. It's a place where all the aliens of Mutsuba Town can just walk around without having to hide, and that's why he needs UTS. However, that place is dangerous because it's run by aliens, so the adults of UTS won't let the kids go, and one of them, Tazaki, duels Kirishima to decide if they will take the job. But Yuamu picks up on the real move that Kirishima is doing. He's only doing it as a distraction. So, in the middle of it, Yuhi, Yuamu, and Yugioh head to the Underground via a subway. And in all the excitement, they didn't check the info Kirishima gave them on the girl, and they read her name for the first time.
Goha Yuna?
That's right, Yuna Goha. Not only is it another U name, it gets worse every series. There's 4 already, it's not even episode 15. And yes, she's also the founder of Goha, which we hear from the twins at whenever this takes place, is some small startup that's operated out of an apartment building and has like 2 employees, nowhere near the corporation we know from Sevens. Also, sadly, episode 15 aired after the passing of Kazuki Takahashi, the episode making mention of it, which is crazy that it happened not that long ago, and he's still missed to this day. I'm sure the show will do its best to help honor his memory.
そして挑戦士のジャージをまとえ特殊召喚カオスソルジャージ
So UTS make it to the underground and immediately are stopped by the Jersey Devils, who are literal devils that wear jerseys, and their deck is old Yu-Gi-Oh monsters who made to have jersey puns and wear jerseys. Also, yes, if you haven't noticed in Go Rush World, many yokai or monsters that people think are from Earth are actually aliens, which I think is a cool detail that helps build the world. One thing I don't like is a problem why I don't like kids anime in the original Japanese, cause they do something annoying I don't like. You may remember mostly in the 4Kids days that they would give characters dumb voices or whatever to differentiate them. In Japanese, they do that too, but the language of Japanese is very context sensitive, so mostly changing words like pronouns or sentence particles or even shortening some things can make you sound more masculine, feminine, old, young, like you're from a different prefecture. It's way more complicated than that, but that's the basics of it. What kids shows like Go Rush do is take a lot of those changes in grammar and make it something dumb to show how different they are. And since these are aliens, they speak weird in Japanese. Like Zuijo refers to himself as ware, a very old authoritative way of referring to yourself.
忘れたわけではあるまいな我はベルギャオ星
Which, by the way, make note of that. That comes back in Season 3. I'm not even kidding. It varies depending on the character what manner of speech changes. But the easiest way to do it is to change the sentence ender des, or desu if you're feeling freaky. So what Go Rush does is have characters usually say some random word as an ender all the time to show that they're an alien. And the Jersey Devils say Jersey.
すぐにコストを払ってもらうジャージ何言っちょるジャージで返り討ちにしてやるジャージジャージドロー
And almost all the alien characters do this. Usually an English word associated with whatever kind of monster they are based on, and it's really annoying. Even some human characters are going to start to do it. And I get if I was a native Japanese speaker, I'd maybe find it more humorous, but I'm not, so no. And I guess you'll see them all, because despite being said in English, these subtitle people still subtitle it, because fan subbers are weirder than you. Back to the show, the Jersey Devils say they run this turf, and that you need bottle caps to survive here, which Kirishima also happened to give UTS and they were confused about. Turns out these things are literally the power level indicators in this world. They get bigger depending on how many duels you win. And the Jersey Devils try to assert dominance by dueling Udius. But luckily Udius wins, mainly because Jersey misplays and misses lethal, which was kind of fun. I really wish more duels in the shows would have included more things like that, you know, stuff that actually happens in real duels. Well, I guess it wouldn't be entertaining watching one player call a judge over every 30 seconds. After Udius wins, they make friends with the Jerseys and ask about Yuna Goha. They got no idea who that is, but do mention it is weird, cause it's Alien Town, and if a human girl was wandering around, it'd be pretty obvious. So they conclude she must be in the dark side of town, that even regular aliens don't go to. And to figure out more, they should look for the Informant, a mysterious informant who knows everything about the underground, but is so mysterious, no one even knows what they look like or how to contact him. So how do they even know he exists? So with no luck finding Yuna or the Informant, UTS head home for the day. Gomu tries to contact Hiroshima to report their progress, but you can't get in contact with them. He even tries his pager. Ask your parents if you don't know what that is. Not even Manya knows where he is. She says he ditched her and now her scheduling and jobs are all out of sorts. We also learn that despite Goha being so small, it is the company that made Rush Duels and produces them along with Mutsuba Industries. Just then, Yuhi starts freaking out, saying he's seeing a monster in the mirror, and starts going crazy, blocking all of them, as this monster is telling them to stop going to the underground. But then we see that again, Yuamu is really smart, realizing who it is. Her along with Udius and he kidnapped Yuhi use secret codes and misdirection to trap the monster in a row of mirrors. But she already figured out it wasn't a monster, it's the Informant, who's actually many informants, a body made up of skyfish. Google it. And to get his info on Yuna and why he tried to stop them, Yuamu duels him. And they again show Yuamu is really smart. I'm emphasizing this point a lot, you'll understand why in like 3 videos. Because the skyfish, able to be everywhere all at once, knows of UTS's cards and strategies, and he built his deck specifically to counter Yuamu's. But it's revealed before the duel, she opened a random pack of cards and shoved them in her deck, so now neither of them know what card she'll draw. And hey, that's what makes Rush Duels fun. And she's a protagonist with a U name, so of course in the pack she got a secret rare card that happens to perfectly synergize with her deck while stuffing the Informant's cards, so she wins. So Informant tells them about Yuna, that she is in the dark part of town, specifically Badloon Castle, an area run by the Rovian Bandits, the crew that run the whole underground. But to get in, you need a lot of duel energy. You gotta get that respect. And the fastest way to do that is to go to the Coliseum, where aliens duel for sport. And considering his embarrassing display in the last couple episodes, Yuhi duels first against Nomura Damas, who can predict the future, not naturally because he's human, it's because of his hat, an alien called a Choppa alien. I'm gonna be honest, it's been like several months since I heard them actually say that, and I'm not looking it up. An alien parasite that needs a human host but can predict the future. This does shake Yuhi up at first, but then he does the Joey Wheeler special, relying on luck cards to win the day. And after the duel, it turns out Nomura, or his hat, can't predict the future. It was mostly reciting quotes from the popular 4-panel manga Mr. Universe, which according to Udius is the most popular manga in space. Well, doesn't Yuhi feel dumb? But before UTS can get more duel energy, Manabu shows up, because he got reports of some people going between Mutsuba and the underground, which is illegal. But before he can do anything about it, his boss shows up, the Director General of the MIK, Nanahoshi Ranran, who's been getting Manabu's reports and has come to lay down the law, saying she's shutting down this Coliseum and that all the residents will be shipped off to a secure prison. She's on the warpath, and also turns out that she was also Nyande Star's first partner. Wow, that doesn't matter for anything. Knowing this is wrong, Manabu duels Ranran to stop her. But she has never lost a duel, ever. She's that good. But then when she makes plays, she just summons some weak normal monsters and that's it? And Manabu thinks it's a trick, but no, she actually just sucks. Because she is obsessed with cute things and mostly filled her deck with weak cute monsters. And her subordinates just kinda let her win because she's their boss. And then through speeches about no pathetic cards or whatever, Manabu wins and Ranran backs off for now. So with that settled, UTS try to slip out, but are intercepted by a mysterious girl, who shows that she captured the Skyfish, and knows they're looking for her Rovian-sama, and tells them to beat it or else. Obviously they can't do that, so Udius says they'll settle it in a rush duel. She sees no need to do that and is about to refuse, until she sees Udius's duel disc.
そういえばユーリアスのデュエルディスクって俺たちのと違うよな。
てっきり試作品か何かと思ってたけど。
Also, if you remember, despite knowing nothing about rush duels, he had it and cards before meeting the twins. Before any of that is answered, she agrees to the duel, but if she wins, they leave and she gets his duel disc. And this mysterious person summons a card we should be familiar with.
アドバンス召喚。行く手を阻む壁も山も惑星もロードを切り開いて突き進みますわ。出ていらっしゃい。セブンスロードマジシャン。
And the conversation of Udius's duel disc comes up again, and he explains he got it when he came to Earth, before meeting UTS. He came down to the surface and wandered around on his own, trying to find out about rush duels, and failed miserably. He ended up alone, hungry and tired on the side of the road. That's when someone in mysterious armor approaches him, gives him some food, a duel disc, and a few packs of cards before flying off. The others think the only one who would be able to do something like that would be Yunagoha, so Udius has met her before. But no, it wasn't, cause the girl is extra pissed hearing that story, and says that wasn't Yunagoha, cause if you haven't figured it out yet,
私はお前みたいな宇宙人を助けたりしていないのですわ。
通りですかい。この女こそゴーハ堂の小学生社長ゴーハユーナですかい。
and she's tired of all this and decides to end the duel with an equip spell, a new card in this world, and I guess rush duels, didn't even notice it wasn't a thing in 7s. And she beats Udius, and she takes his duel disc, but it's something he cherishes and tries to chase her, but then all of UTS suddenly collapse, feeling weak, almost like gravity is pushing against them. That's when Ranran and Manabu reveal that's what it's supposed to be like down here. See, in the past, the underground was a prison for aliens caught by the MIK, and gravity was turned up a lot to make sure they couldn't escape or act out. The only way to move around was through special rings the MIK wear, until Rovian showed up, and took one of those rings, reverse engineered it, and made it into the bottle cap power level converters, giving them to the aliens, eventually turning it into the residential area we know now. And okay, one thing I will say the show does great, especially in the first season, is world building. Like, I'm not even kidding when I'm saying we're reaching One Piece levels of world building here, people. It feels like every location has some interesting backstory, and that's awesome. Too bad they don't explore it. Being unable to move around, Manabu helps UTS get back home, defeated. But at least they now know where Yunagoha is, they just need to figure out how to get to her. Udius is feeling extra bad losing his duel disc, especially to their target. And the next day, Valvegear informs the twins Udius is missing. Assuming he went to Yuna for his disc, they head to Goha's headquarters, but it's closed, so they figure he went to the underground. And this is confirmed by one of the Skyfish who escaped from a hole in the bag, saying he can guide them through Badloon Castle, and he also saw Udius crawling towards there. So the twins head back to the underground but need duel power, and ask for help from the Jersey Devils, who agree to help and lend some duel energy. All of them successfully get inside the castle as the Devils distract some goons to let the twins proceed. They make it to the roof where they see a t-shirt of Udius. Weird, but Valvegear reacts to it and the twins realize that is Udius. He's a t-shirt now. Unluckily, Yuna has found them and is about to kick them out. That's when the mastermind behind all of this arrives, Rovian. And she's not what they expected.
ルール破ってルルルルルはあ可愛い子ちゃん焼肉パフェだよ召し上がれ今日も最高のポエムですわ
ロビアンって
あいつがロビアン
Yes, the big leader of the Rovian Bandits, who runs the entire underground, who took specific technology from an alien hunting organization, reverse engineered it, and mass produced it, giving it to a bunch of people to turn this place into her own little playground, is a human girl that's a bard, who speaks in nonsensical poems that Yuna just splooges over. Now, does this enhance or disregard my previous One Piece statement? Well, the twins have some questions, and Rovian says if they want to know, they gotta duel her. So the twins are again surprised when they hear her full name. It's Rovian Kirishima / Cassidy. Yeah, seems Kirishima has got some explaining to do, but for now the twins have to beat Rovian at a 1v2 duel to save Udius. And it goes alright until halfway through the duel, Rovian calls out the twins, saying Yuhi's a brown-nosing idiot, and Yuamu's a hypocrite, and she's not doing this for a good reason, because she's looking for the space treasure. The first time us and Yuhi hear about this. And people being two-faced pisses Rovian off, and she goes Super Saiyan Rage Mode, God Mode Super Saiyano, and plays her own equip spell, beating the twins, which means they are out of duel energy again and can't move under the gravity. And Yuna, thinking it's attacking Rovian, damages the Valvegear, and they're all about to be thrown out. That's when two minions help them escape. Turns out to be Manya and Bochi. They came after Yuamu called them about Kirishima and have been doing their own investigating. They all try to retreat again, but Yuhi won't abandon Udius and says they can't leave until they save him, so they all agree to go back and get him. So they go through the underground, into a skimmin restaurant, and the owner is actually a Rovian bandit who tries to trap them with debt. But that doesn't work, so he duels Manya instead, and Manya is just as bad as Mimi and she loses. But it was a ruse as the twins stuck off in the middle of the duel, and this time they pretty easily grab Udius from Badloon Castle. I guess they lowered the difficulty after failing so much. But when they regroup and try to leave the underground, the train is gone. But luckily Manabu and Yondastar come to their aid because they were worried about them. So now back home, the problem is, they don't know how Udius became a cheap t-shirt or how to get him back to normal. They try various ways to rehydrate him, I guess, which kind of devolves into a clip show, not a full one, but the latter half starts showing too many flashbacks. Either way, eventually the Udius shirt ends up in the hands of Mitsuko, who we see also went undercover as a Rovian bandit, and she brings Udius to Yugioh, who decides to help him by giving him a card, returns him to UTS, where he's finally restored to himself. The others ask how Rovian turned him into a t-shirt, but he says it wasn't her, it just kinda happened. He made it to Rovian and Yuna, but before he could ask for his duel disc back, he ran out of strength, and he just turned into that. It's just the thing Valgarians do, I guess. But before anything else can happen, UTS gets a surprise visitor, Rovian, Yuna, and the Bandits, who have come to buy UTS. Yes, they want the whole place, which immediately sets off Yuamu's sus detectors, because why would they want their business when it has nothing to do with the underground? They refuse, of course, but Udius, to defend his friends and get his disc back, challenges Rovian to a duel. One problem, he doesn't have a duel disc. But luckily, Valvegear is here to help. But remember, it lost a part because of Yuna, so it's not operating correctly and only has 2 monster and spell and trap zones. You might be wondering, why can't he just borrow a disc from someone else? So despite this setback, Udius begins his duel against Rovian. And while he may not have zones, he finds in his deck a card that he remembers Zuijo gave him back when he was made of silk, and it turns out to be an equip spell, which he uses to help even up the odds. Meanwhile, Yuamu starts putting all the pieces together in her mind palace. It's gotta all be connected. UTS, Kirishima being related to Rovian, the underground, and them wanting UTS, and even Rovian knowing about the space treasure. And that's when she figures it out and runs off, finding a hidden hatch in UTS, and inside is Kirishima. And back in the duel, it's revealed the hat on Rovian's head is actually one of the hat aliens, I'm not going to try to pronounce it again, named Kamos, starts speaking, saying the great king of terror has arrived, and the sky goes all crazy. And now we get to the final episode I'll be talking about today, episode 26. Looks like this was the plan all along. The Kirishimas manipulated UTS to find the space treasure, which they knew was under the UTS building. But turns out London is not completely aligned with Rovian, and says he's here of his own accord to take the treasure for himself. And it turns out that treasure is a spaceship, which Kirishima takes off in, but sees Yuamu got on board too. Everyone at the duel sees this, Rovian seeing Kirishima betrayed her, and UTS seeing Yuamu's on it. To make sure he's not distracted, Yuhi goes after Yuamu and tells UTS to focus on the duel. Which doesn't get better when Rovian enters Berserker Rage mode again, so UTS uses his own protagonist powers, and with friendship and inspiration, the valve of gear repairs itself, giving him all his zones again. And right when Yuhi catches up with Yuamu and saves her, turns out that little ship Kirishima took wasn't the real treasure. No, the real one activates in response to UTS. Yep, the treasure was all of Mutsuba Town, converting into a spaceship. Not just that, the ship is Valgyrian in design, as Valvagear can merge with it. Seems Valgyrians came to Earth a long time ago. But now filled with this new power, UTS manages to beat Rovian, ending her bad poems. And of course afterward he says it was a great duel and they're all friends. But now Mutsuba Town is a spaceship, and is on a direct course for this great king of terror. And that's where I'll leave it for now. Mainly because, like usual, this was longer because I had to exposit a lot of info, and of course that bit at the beginning where I had fun shitting on anime Nazis. I think so far the show isn't that bad, right? I mean, it's got some good humor, the characters are all silly and kind of fun to watch. The duels, unfortunately, since it's a new show, have regressed to the really simple bigger guy over bigger guy. But it's starting to pick up with the introduction of equip spells, right? God, audience, you stupid assholes. This is exactly why you were tricked by Arc 5, too. Like I said at the beginning, if you haven't noticed, there's no real plot going on here. I think the main goal is to end the war and use the star system, but after beating Yugioh, which happened way too soon, it's become about something else entirely with the Rovian bandits and now this great king of terror. Then the second half does try to connect all of these things, which it kinda does, but also weirdly ends the show. Cause yeah, after episode 51, which we'll get to next time, there's not really a reason to continue the show beyond that. So it's gonna be a lot of time we gotta fill. And the worst part of it all is it's not that funny. Before we get to that, we will first have to get to the next part, where we will see this great king of terror explore a bit of the Go Rush universe, and pay a visit to Ulyss's home planet. All that and more next time. Until then, I'm probably just gonna sing that ending theme over and over again. It's still stuck in my head. Da 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 da.
宇宙船ムツバ町バリバリベルギャー今遠い銀河の果てより迫り来る恐怖の大王を止めるためムツバ町の皆さんがラッシュデュエルの宇宙を駆け抜ける